if something falls out and it doesn't go ahead, the way I kind of look at it is like, okay, if that hasn't worked, something better is going to come along. Getting into that mindset, I would say, is the hardest part, because when you're new and you've come with X amount of savings, and it doesn't take long for those to dwindle once you've got your accommodation, you've got your car. Dubai's an expensive place, and if you're not making money, it's a really expensive place. So I think that element of it is like the shift in your mindset where you detach from something going wrong and being like, okay, right, on to the next thing.
For the very first time, we are taking this podcast outside of Ireland, all the way to the heart of opportunity, the city of Dubai. And we're sitting down talking to some of the most world-class entrepreneurs, leaders, visionaries who are taking the world by storm. And we're kicking things off with our second official guest, introducing Leona McHugh. Leona left Ireland with only an idea, a dream, a vision, and has built her name in one of the world's most competitive real estate markets, helping clients secure dream homes, smart investments, and luxury living in a city built on ambition. We sat down to talk all things property, mindset, and what it really takes to make it in a city where skyline is constantly changing, and so are the opportunities. I've spent the last 4 years of my life on this journey to uncover what is success, how do I get it, and how I can help share it with others. Gaining knowledge, data, success stories, cover this golden thread how other young people and business owners can use and grow from this information, travelling all across Ireland to uncover this secret. And this series uncovers just that. Because you're watching the official Young Hunger podcast. My name is Michael Burgess, and enjoy the episode.
Hi, my name's Leona McHugh, and I'm originally from Fermanagh, but living over here in Dubai, and I work in commercial real estate. I've been so excited to come on the podcast, and I'm so glad that we're finally getting the chance to record.
So welcome to Series 3 of the official Young Hunger podcast, and I'm calling it the Dubai series. And for our second official guest, we are inviting Leona McHugh.
Hi, thank you for having me on. I'm super excited.
I feel like this is like another day in the life for you. You've done a couple of podcasts
I've
before.
done a couple of podcasts, but this one I've been most excited about because it's lovely to do some with someone from home, and I've obviously seen the ones you've produced, so I've been really looking forward to this.
So, I actually have the funniest story because back in like January of this year, I was at home and my dad sent me like a Belfast Telegraph article, and it was with you and what you're doing over here, and I was like, oh cool, she's in Dubai. And then I was like, oh, but we'll probably never get like sitting down and talking. And then I thought to myself, do you want to do it online? And I thought, nah. And I thought, why not just go to Dubai and shoot it?
That article, so whenever I got asked to do that, I thought it was like the funniest thing ever, because it's just like as if someone wants to do an article on me. And then I was like, you know what, my mom and dad will be absolutely delighted, and I'm so glad I did it, because the outreach I actually got of even just people messaging me, like obviously you reached out for the podcast, which is amazing, but even younger people from back home reaching out saying they're interested in moving out, what would be the process, like what's the best way to go about it. So it actually, I'm so glad I did it in the end, because it's been really beneficial, and it massaged my ego massively.
I was gonna say, because like I feel like no one else, like that was the first time I've ever seen someone be like, whoa, like from where we live essentially to come out here and do it.
So I had honestly never known anyone who had done it previously. I worked as a solicitor and I was working in a law firm, and one of the like admin staff had been saving up money to move to Dubai because he was going to go do real estate. And I just thought about it one weekend. I wasn't particularly loving the job I was in, and I thought it's like actually now or never. So I'd been saving to buy a house, because I think that's all you know to do. Like you think, I'll put money away, I'll get a house, and that's the plan. And I started looking into moving to Dubai, realized that you actually didn't need any experience in real estate to move over. Reached out to like one or two people, and within a week I had a job and I was moving, and that was it. So yeah, it was a quick process, and I haven't looked back since.
How long ago was that?
So like 2.5 years now.
It's not that long, really, is
No, not really. And when I moved, I actually didn't know anyone at all. And I think I thought, like, you romanticize everything, don't you? And then I arrived at Dubai airport with all my luggage and was like, I actually don't know anyone here and I don't know how to get a SIM card and I've got no signal. I'm at the airport and I've got way more luggage because my dad's not here to help me anymore. Like, was this a good idea? But yeah, it's been amazing.
It's actually nearly scary because you're like, this is like, if something goes wrong, no one knows. Do you know what I mean?
That's, I think, the thing. And even just silly little things like, you know what Irish parents are like? They're like, as soon as you move somewhere, give me the address, give me the mobile number, give me the contact details. But like here, it's like the addresses don't have postcodes, even if they send me it. Not that my mom's really going to post anything, but like, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like you said, it's just so difficult for them to actually reach you and know what you're doing unless you're constantly on your phone and when you don't have Wi-Fi. So the first couple of days were extremely turbulent.
Yeah. And where did you say the marina you stayed in?
So when I moved over, I stayed in the marina for a couple of weeks and then moved, I've kind of done a little bit of everywhere. Currently live in Arjan, which is about 20 minutes away from the marina. But I do miss the marina. I miss living by the beach.
Yeah. Or what was that switch, I guess? Like, what made you go from Fermanagh, is that right?
Yes. So I am originally from Fermanagh and then I moved to Liverpool to go to university. Stayed in Liverpool to do all my law exams and then ended up working for a law firm in Liverpool. Once the academics were removed from it, I just didn't enjoy the job. So I was like, I can't do this forever.
Yeah.
But it's hard. You don't know what you're going to change to. So, and you think I've spent all this time studying and maybe I should just suck it up and you know what, like there could be worse jobs to have.
Yeah.
So I think for a while I just kind of settled and was like, look, it'll pass. Like I've just got to get on with it. Until this kind of came around. And I just thought, no, I actually don't need to settle. Like, if you're not happy in a job, you don't need to stay in it. And just because you've maybe spent years going in one career path, like, that's absolutely not a justifiable reason to stay in that career path internally. So, like I said, a little bit of research online, a couple of quick Zoom interviews, and that was it. I did the interviews in mid-July, had the job confirmed within like a week. I had a 3-month notice period in work, so that meant I was going to have to stay a little bit longer. And only for wanting to spend Christmas with my family, like, I'd have honestly probably just went.
Yeah.
Which I think sometimes is the best thing to do, because when you have too much time to consider things,
you nearly doubt.
You get inside your head and you're like, am I making a right decision?
Yeah.
And I think when you're from somewhere, like, I'm from Fermanagh's very rural, but like I think a lot of people thought I was losing the plot.
I was going to say, yeah. What do people say whenever you're like, I'm just going to pack my stuff up and go to Dubai here?
I think everyone thought I was talking nonsense.
Yeah.
Because I'd probably think someone was talking nonsense because I have never demonstrated any interest in moving to anywhere further than Liverpool. Like, I genuinely thought I was going to buy a house in Liverpool and that was me going to be settled until some point later down the line when I moved back to Fermanagh. I had no interest in going to Australia, Canada, America. Seeing other people do it was like, great for you, not for me.
Yeah.
And then next thing I was just packing up and going to Dubai.
Yeah.
So I think everyone was like, are you actually going to do it?
Were they surprised when you actually did?
Entirely, because I'd never really, like I said, like I'd spent all that time doing my law exams. And I think that side of things, people are like, you studied for like 7 years to do a job.
Is that how long it is?
By the time you do everything, like you've got your uni degree and then you've got your legal practice course and then you have to do your like training contracts and everything. So it's a long haul. So I think as well, people associated that with having like a really good, stable career. So they were like, why would you ever give that up to go work in a job? I'm on a commission only role. So if I don't do deals, like I don't get paid anything. So I think that for people was a lot to process, that I would leave a salary job and go to one where I could potentially make no money.
Yeah. It sounds like completely irrational, but now that you're so like, you are a success at what you do now, do people not be like, oh, I knew you would do well?
You know what? I actually have had someone who was over visiting not that long ago and they were like, I had no doubt like that you were going to make it work, because I think other people view you differently than you view yourself. And they had spoken about when we were doing our exams about like how I'd always revise for hours, how I'd always put like 150% into something, which is actually probably true. So a lot of people did come up to me in the aftermath and be like, we knew you'd do it.
Yeah.
But again, there was a lot of doubt at the start. Like, it's because you don't know the job. And I'd never, like, I have no idea about property until I moved over here. I'd been to Dubai once for a week, and that was it. I didn't leave the marina, like, when I came to visit. So to come over and then within a couple of weeks pretend that you're like some property expert, it's
So what actually is it like? Tell me the details of like what you do and like the day to day of.
So I work in commercial real estate. So I focus primarily on getting companies office spaces for lease or for rent. Day to day, it's just a whole lot of making contact with owners, clients, people who are looking for spaces. Because Dubai is so booming at the minute, there's such a demand of new companies starting up. Really, the day to day is just a whole lot of like calls, WhatsApps, non-stop being on your phone, and then running around looking at different office spaces. So it's good. It's quick paced. It's very intense, but I love it.
I like the way it's like 100% commission as well.
That's the thing. I think if you can get out of the mentality of needing a security blanket, which is very difficult, because I'm actually speaking to my younger brother about this at the minute. Like, he's very interested in moving over, but the idea of not knowing where your next paycheck's coming from, like, are you going to make rent? But when you actually have no other option, you have to make it work. Like, you have to give 150%, because there isn't going to be a money tree, and if you don't go and make that money, it's not coming. And I guess that's probably one of the best things I've actually taken away from doing this job is I would love to think I'll stay in real estate for a very long time, but if I don't, I think it would 100% have incentivized me to make sure whatever I do is like entrepreneurial, and that I'm completely in control of my own incomings, and it's all subject to you. You're not relying on like being on anyone else's payroll.
Something quite like fulfilling about that, I'm sure.
I think that's the thing. It is fulfilling, and it's also the benefit of here is you don't pay any tax. So yes, the job can be draining, and there can be months where you don't make any money, but there's months where people make life-changing money, and they're taking home like 100% of whatever's in their pocket. They're not doing national insurance, they're not doing PAYE, whatever. Like, it's 100% going in your bank account, which I think even if people didn't want to move here forever, if they wanted to come and save money for a year or two and then go back, it's just like incredible to not.
Life-changing, really?
Yeah, 100%. I think.
Like, why would you not want to do that in a way?
I think every time anyone who I've known recently has come to Dubai, they're like all considering moving, because fair enough, like we're talking about real estate, maybe commission isn't for everyone, but the benefits of like not paying tax and just the fact that it's a very safe place where it's warm all year round. In my head, I'm like,
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
What was the training like whenever you came over? Was it
training?
Was there much training, or was it more like?
You know what? There is training, but it's like anything. Sometimes I think you have to do to learn.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like for example, to get the stock or the offices or like residential units, whatever you're trying to get, you have to do a lot of calling out. And like, if these people could be getting like 100 or 200 calls a day from other agents, so you can get like shouted at, you can get screamed at, but you just have to keep showing up like every day.
Yeah. How do you get like over that? Is there something you do, or do you just put the blinkers on and be like?
Sometimes I honestly think it's best to just remember that like you don't actually know what's going on in that person's day, because I'm sure, I know I've done it, like, and you might have done it. You'll snap at someone, but it's absolutely nothing to do with that person. It's just because something else has happened earlier that day, or you're in a mood, or you're stressed, or you're rushing somewhere. So I try not to get too deep in it. Yeah. And then call them back the next week.
Is that what you do? You just have to kind of pound people?
You honestly, you do have to be resilient, because when you're calling these people or you're trying to get them to trust you, like, they don't know you. So, and which I found very bizarre when I moved over here, everything's done by WhatsApp. Like, even the most formal discussions will be done on, like, about multi-million-pound properties will be done on WhatsApp. Like, I remember once saying to someone, yeah, I'll email you. And they were like, what? Like, why would you? Like, they thought I was, like, absolutely, like, ridiculous that I would propose an email trail of some like important correspondence.
Yeah, if you flip that, if you said to someone, "Oh, I'm gonna WhatsApp you that important deal," they'll be like, "What are you doing?"
Honestly,
At home?
back home,
Yeah.
they would be shocked. Honestly, they'd think you were like totally unprofessional.
Yeah.
But over here, everything's done by WhatsApp, and I think that's why you do have to keep going back because if you keep showing up, at one point they'll be like, okay, this person's actually consistent. So yeah, unfortunately, that is
The case.
the case. Yeah.
What does your day look like?
So I
Is there a
have
typical day? or is it
actually
different?
just changed companies as of last week. So I tend to try get to the office quite early, do a couple of hours in there, do my admin, and then it will really just be the case of if you've got some new office spaces to go look at, go check them out, get pictures of them, arrange professional photos of them. Then meeting with owners I think is really important because, like I said, a lot of things are done on WhatsApp, but if you can get in front of someone and they actually can put a face to you and you can be in some way like charming or show them that you've got a little bit about them rather than someone who's going to consistently WhatsApp them with no value, that tends to help. So I do a lot of like meetings, and then it's really just viewings with clients. We have like portals similar to if you were going to rent a house back home, you go online, you check out like Rightmove or something along those lines. If you're at home, I think, is it called Rightmove?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So we've got portals that are similar to those, which then clients can like inquire through, and then just really a whole lot of it is just meeting people, getting in front of people, trying to get them units, getting contracts done, and just repeating. Really,
I feel like it's so different from like being the solicitor.
so different. So as well, whenever I was working as a solicitor, I was completely like in the office, didn't really do anything client facing, which is why I chose to do commercial real estate, because whilst it's still very client facing, it's a different kind of rapport that you're dealing with when you're dealing like business to business rather than doing residential, where you're like perhaps showing families around villas and discussing all the interiors and stuff. I don't think I could have quite made that jump from solicitor to going into like a residential real estate agent.
Yeah.
But I could mask doing like that kind of solicitor work into going to dealing with other businesses. I find that quite good. And then commercial's a lot of figures as well, which I tend to enjoy, like spreadsheets and the nitty gritty. So
Yeah.
it kind of actually does work.
What about like trials and tribulations of your job? What's like the biggest like, I guess, challenge or struggle that you face?
So I would say as well, because it's commission only, and especially in the early stages, you can get really emotionally invested in what's going on. Like
In a deal? Or
in a
something?
deal, yeah, exactly. So you'll put your everything into one deal and it might fall through, and then you've got nothing else going on, and it's because you've got so attached to that one deal, it actually like really hurts. Like I remember, I think it might have been like my second or third month, I had like 3 deals fall through in one day, and you're just so disheartened. And I went to the bathroom and I just like cried, and I was like, I can't do this every time a deal falls through. And
Yeah.
you'd go to your manager, and my manager at that time was the ultimate like, it is what it is kind of person, like, and I was like, no, like it's not like
You need
I
this.
couldn't get through to
Yeah.
that mental mindset that he was in, which now I can. Like if something doesn't fall out, or if something falls out and it doesn't go ahead, the way I kind of look at it is like, okay, if that hasn't worked, something better is going to come along. I think that is probably getting into that mindset, I would say, is the hardest part, because when you're new and you've come with X amount of savings, and it doesn't take long for those to dwindle once you've got your accommodation, you've got your car, you're just, Dubai's an expensive place, and if you're not making money, it's a really expensive place. So I think that element of it is like the shift in your mindset where you detach from something going wrong and being like, okay, right, on to the next thing.
Was that your lowest moment, do you think, here?
My lowest moment. So whenever I was like, I would say it was still quite early, and I look back at this now and I'm like, oh my days. But I used to always have to drive from my office in Motor City to Business Bay, where we are now. And like, I would just cry. No, I would just cry. Like, not like bawling, but like, I'd just be like, this is so difficult. Like, this is so difficult. And that's one thing I would say, and I say to people who I speak to all the time, the first year of moving somewhere, when you're not going to, like, for example, when you move to university, you're going into halls or you're going with friends and it's easy to meet people. But when you move to the other side of the world, like, the first year is really difficult because you don't know anyone. You're not familiar with the area. There's just so many different cultural
differences,
things that you like, that you're just not really aware of, and it's finding your feet. So I'd say, honestly, maybe like the first 6 months, like, I cried a lot. That was probably my lowest point.
Yeah. How did you push through that? How did you keep going, or what made you stay, I guess, and not go home?
I kind of just was like, I knew I absolutely didn't want to go back to working in law. And then, as much as I absolutely love Fermanagh, and when I go back, I have the best time, it just, at this moment in time in my life, was not an option to go back there entirely and try find a career path. So I also just looked around me and was like, there's so many people here making it work. It's just a case of, and this is so cliche, but with the job, you absolutely have to trust the process. Like, there is nothing difficult about doing real estate. One of my old CEO used to always say, it's not hard work, you just need to work hard. And that's the truest thing. Like, the more calls you make, the more meetings you go to, the more viewings you do. It's like anything, it's a numbers game. So I kind of just realised, like, I just have to keep showing up. For the first 8 months, I didn't go out once.
Oh, did you not?
No. I honestly just lived in the office.
And do you think you needed to do that to get to where you are?
I've always been the kind of person who, when I have a goal in mind, I don't mind cutting everything else off. Like, I'll just go absolutely locked in.
Yeah.
And I think it actually did really stand me in good stead, because I was just calling and calling and calling, and if people weren't answering, I was WhatsApping, and I was trying to do as much as I humanly possibly could, like working like 7 days a week, which I actually don't encourage. Like, I think you need to have
a break.
Some sort of, you absolutely do. But it was easier to do back then because I actually didn't really have many friends, and so it wasn't like I was in the office Saturday and Sunday, but I didn't really have anything better to do anyway.
Yeah. Funny, I was actually looking through your stories, and like before I came, there was like you and a couple others at like on a boat and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, the social life must be so good. But after hearing that,
yeah.
Like, how did you make the friends? Like, how did you make?
So I actually, then another Irish girl came to work in the firm I was working in, and she was just like the ultimate social butterfly.
Just cling on to her.
Yeah, literally, she was like, she just came up to me one day. I was like, do you want to do this weekend? And I was like, yeah, that would be nice. And then she just met other people, and it got to that stage where I was a bit more comfortable with having made some money, and I knew what I was doing, and I thought, right, okay, now is an okay time to let my hair down. But I still re-check myself every now and again. Like, that boat weekend, I think it was like the Friday, Saturday, Sunday I was out, and I'm like, I can't do that every week.
Yeah,
once in a while is okay.
Yeah.
But
you kind of need that too, I'm sure, like that sort of social interaction with
1,000,000%.
like-minded
And
people. Yeah.
what I would say is great about Dubai is like everyone is really like-minded. Like, anyone I'm friends with really drives each other on, like absolutely back each other 100%, and that's so important.
Are they in a similar business, similar game?
A lot of people in Dubai tend to be, if they're not in real estate, Dubai is very heavily commission only role jobs anyway. So everyone to a certain degree is in the same boat, where they might have a basic salary, but the main money that they're hoping to take home is from a commission structure. And I think that does help, because everyone really understands. And if you say to someone, oh, I can't come out because I need to do viewings, they understand. Like, if you thought you weren't going to maybe turn up for, because some of those viewings you need to remember as well, like, could be like, even if it's a small deal, it could still be more than what your salary was back home. So you're not going to miss, if you have a friend who lets you miss that to go to a brunch, they're not a friend. Like,
I think it's so funny. Like, Fermanagh is like the most rural, like,
yeah.
like county back home, and like here is so different. Like, it's literally like polar opposite.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't it?
Like, it's so different. And my parents, they're the best, right? But they're proper like country, like rural Fermanagh.
Yeah.
And just when I brought them over to Dubai, they just kept looking around and they just kept going, it's out of this world. It's out of this world, isn't it? Like,
Yeah. I love the way you can like show them where to go, like the good places and stuff.
yeah,
And
and you know what? Like, they can't wait to come back over. And even stuff that I thought they wouldn't really enjoy, like certain restaurants and stuff that would be a bit like notions in compared to Fermanagh.
Fermanagh, yeah.
They
yeah.
were lapping it up, yeah.
Would you ever go home, or is this sort of the base for?
So, I just think I've been away from Fermanagh for so long that I just don't know how
You cope with it?
I would even, if I had a job which I could be entirely entrepreneurial and work from anywhere, I would definitely spend a lot more time back home with my family. But even friends wise, a lot of my friends don't live there anymore. They're kind of, you know, Dublin, London. I have a couple who are back in Fermanagh, but there isn't loads. So when you go home at Christmas or maybe the odd time in summer, you think, God, this is the best thing ever. But that's like a rare occasion.
I feel you've sort of like drifted nearly, like everyone sort of drifted nearly.
And then I can't say that I'd never moved to Belfast or Dublin, because in all honesty, I've never experienced either of them.
Yeah.
But I guess it would have to be maybe more like city based if I did go.
Of course, you used to the buzz and stuff now. Would you ever go to like, or I was going to sort of say there, like you mentioned entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Is your dad or mum entrepreneurial, or
no?
Where does the streak come from?
My dad was a taxi driver and my mum works in a cafe, so neither of them are like entrepreneurial at all. No. So I think it's just I'd have never considered myself like entrepreneurial at all until I got into this job, where whilst yes, you're still working for a company, you are essentially running your own mini business. Like, everything falls down to you. The company will give you maybe a database and a certain kind of lifeline for you to do what you need to. But if you don't show up and do the calls and put in the hours, then essentially like the company's not going to pay. They're not going to pay you. It's up to you to make your own money. And then when I seen the freedom that can come with making your own money and being like, okay, this month, like, you're not tied to a certain salary. It gives you greater opportunities with maybe investments, holidays, like whatever you want to do with it. And I think that's now where my mindset has shifted, that no matter what I do later down the line, which I still see myself doing real estate for a very long time, I would like it to be something where I'm like my own boss.
I feel like I get that vibe. I feel like, how would you say it? Flipping this 3 o'clock last night is really coming in to me right now. What was I going to say there? I feel like you had to have some sort of faith, I guess, taking that leap.
Absolutely.
That a lot of people don't have. Like, that's sort of something I've seen. Even with Ben there, I can feel like you guys just know and made it work. You just knew it was going to work.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is you absolutely have to back yourself 1,000,000%, to the extent where you are like borderline delusional. And I fully believe that. And I tell all my friends that who are like planning on doing anything, I'm like, you just have to go for it 1,000,000%.
You haven't got that with the salary though. Like,
no, there's no incentive.
No.
And that's look, for some people, that's the perfect life. People like security. They like to know what's coming into their bank every month. And that there's no criticism on that at all. And I think I'm obviously sitting here from the benefit of like, I don't have a family. I don't have kids to provide for. I don't have all the commitments that would require you to maybe know exactly what you're bringing in every month. But no, if you're on someone's payroll and you're getting the same every month, and you know, even maybe with a few sick days in there, you're going to get that wage, it's not the same. I know for a fact, whenever I was on like a salary, like I showed up like bare minimum sometimes, and now I don't have the option to do that. Like, I'd have to be really, really sick to not go to work for a day. Whereas when you're on someone's payroll and you can get a sick day, you're like, oh,
it's not
the same.
Whenever I'm in the office or I'm talking to people, they nearly seem a wee bit like, how would you say it? Like, I feel like everyone knows they could do more, if you know what I mean.
That is one of the things that when I decided to leave law was I always like credited myself with being like very determined and like disciplined and hardworking, and I just didn't feel like I was like honoring any of those traits.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was showing up and I was doing what I needed to do, but I wasn't doing everything I could. And I think that's really disheartening if you feel like you're not working to your full potential.
Yeah.
And I was also kind of in the delusional mindset of thinking, I think I was 28 when I was like 28 when I decided to move. But in your head, like I was like, am I too old? Like, have I just, is this it now? Which is like the stupidest thing ever to think. You're never too old to change over and start a career change if it's going to make you happy.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it comes with the mindset of, well, I could be in a worse situation.
And then you always go for like the half one if you knew there was worse.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's sort of like, oh, I'm all right here. It's all right. Like, there's nothing too bad.
That's the exact thing. And that was the mindset I didn't want to fall into when I was catching myself being like, oh, you know, this is okay. Like, it's grand. It could be worse. I was like, no, you can't do this forever. Like,
yeah. What do you think if you didn't take that jump, or if you, I guess, went home when things weren't working, where do you think you would be?
I think I'd obviously, to be honest, I'd probably have to go back to some form of legal job, because that was obviously what I had qualified in.
Yeah.
I had actually looked at retraining to maybe go into a different area of law. Weirdly, I was looking at doing kind of like a housing law, so I feel like I'd taken a baby step towards some sort of property.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, it was literally something just switched to me. The actual real version of events, of other than hearing that guy speak about it, was I was out for drinks one Saturday with all my friends, and we'd all been in Liverpool like 10 years by this stage, and it was like, yes, it was so much fun and I loved them, but we were doing the same stuff as we were doing like 8 years beforehand when we were students, which, look, we still had the crack, so no harm done. But when we were sitting around chatting, like 2 of them were moving to Australia, the other 2 were debating moving to Barcelona. Then 2 of them were just generally leaving Liverpool, so it was only going to leave 3 of us there. And in my head I was just like, everyone's leaving. And then I woke up slightly hungover on the Sunday and just honestly got on Google and was like, move to Dubai. Move somewhere. I knew it wasn't going to be Canada. I knew it wasn't going to be Australia, America. No, I was just like, Dubai. Dubai. That's
I know.
it.
I feel like if that, especially the last 2 or 3 years, I feel like Dubai's definitely like shot up in like everyone's radar, hasn't it? It's really become like a hub of like entrepreneurial business.
So I think a few years back, like, people had the idea that it was just a very like glitzy, glam, influencer place. And I still have people tell me even now, they're like, no, I've got no interest in going there. Like, it wouldn't be my scene. But it's honestly, it's so different. Like, yes, if you want to do the glitzy, glamour, influencer thing, there's people doing that. Yeah. But if you just want to come somewhere where the infrastructure of the entire place is like incredible, like, it has so much to offer. It's so safe. Honestly, everyone's generally expats, so everyone's so helpful. Like, I genuinely think it's the best place on earth.
Yeah.
And I think that's why more people are moving.
Especially like seeing that like Belfast Telegraph article.
Yeah.
You know, that type of thing. Like the amount of people seeing you and your success.
Yeah. And I also just think that sorry, my mind is went entirely blank.
Well, I tell you, I have a couple more for you.
Okay,
and
go
I
for
sort
it.
of want to go on, like, if you could ask Ben this, and if you could plant one idea in the mind of a young aspiring entrepreneur, what would that be?
Oh my god, you put me on the spot.
See, that's the thing, is like, if maybe the version of you who hadn't came out yet was watching this and needed that wee bit of advice, something you can really just plant.
I would honestly just say, like, even if you think that you're being absolutely ridiculous and you're gonna fail, just keep doing it. Like, even, and don't be realistic at all with your goals, because if you try to be realistic about it, you you might achieve it, but it's not going to be amazing. So like if you honestly set yourself the highest standard, and also like in my head when I think about something, I think about it like as if I've already done it. So if I'm going to do a big massive deal or anything where I need to show up, like I honestly in my head like think about it as if it's already done. And I think if you in your head create this persona of like you already being successful, or you already showing up and you already going that over and above so that your life is the life you've always dreamed of, then you've got a better chance of at least getting close to it. And I think that for me, everything is like visionary. And I'd say kind of like, it's hard when you're maybe in like a rural place in Fermanagh and you don't want to seem like, you don't want to say to other people like you've got all these dreams or you're going to be like a visionary, because they'll be like, shut up. But like, just go with it. Like, just absolutely go with it. And I genuinely think, I think younger people have better mindsets now anyway around kind of being entrepreneurial. Like we've got Instagram is actually probably one of the biggest places for people to see. Like everyone on there is like content marketing influencer of some description. And I think just go for it. Don't care what anyone else says. Like, and do it as young as you possibly can.
Are you living your dream life right now?
I think in my head I always want better, but if me 2 years ago could see the life I'm living now, they'd be like, well, what the hell?
Yeah.
And I hope in 2 years' time I look back and it's the same.
Yeah, it's like constantly progressing.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
Like, I think it's easy to look, especially in Dubai, and think, oh my God, that person has this. Oh my God, they drive this car. Like one of my friends has the most amazing Lamborghini Urus. I don't ever want a Lamborghini Urus, but I still look at their car and I'm like, oh my God, like that's insane. Like, and you can't pit your happiness against what other people have. So I think in Dubai it's easy to be like, oh well, I could always have more. But equally, like when I was in Liverpool and I was trying to save money to come to Dubai, or like being really sensible, like down to the pennies, like yeah, I would say in comparison to that, I've got my dream life.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting when you mention like the visionary stuff. Because
Yeah.
I've heard that like whenever we were like talking to people, similar stuff overlaps no matter what the genre is or what they do as a job. And I feel like a lot of them kind of touch on in some sort of way about the visualizing sort of type thing.
Yeah.
It seems to work.
I 100% think, because I know people might be like, oh, you're being so wafty, but like if you buy into like manifesting, showing up, like dressing like for the whole like concept, like dress for the job you want to have, not the job you have, like all those little things, it's all like, it's just making you 1% better here, there and everywhere. And like all of that does amount to how you will present as a person. And I'm massive on visualizing stuff. Like
Did you visualize this?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Like I remember when I was handing my notice in, I remember like not in my head, I thought, okay, I'm going to hand my notice in and they're going to be like, oh, Leona's moving to Dubai. And then obviously like it all takes place. And even silly little things like the car I drive now, like I've always visualized myself driving that car. And I think it progressively happens. It doesn't happen overnight and you might not notice immediately that it's happening. But I do think when you look back, you're like, you connect the dots.
Yeah. Do you think like you now sitting on a podcast in Dubai doing as well as what you're doing was the person you were visualizing when you were a solicitor of the person you could be? Or do you think it exceeded that?
I like think this is probably like chalk and cheese. I would even just say I feel like as a person I've grown so much in the last 2 years that I don't think I'd have even maybe had like the self-belief that I'd ever be in a podcast when I was working as a solicitor.
I know you're here.
Yeah. I wouldn't have had anything to speak about.
Yeah, well, that's true. Like, I feel like people definitely do. Like, I'm sure they do look up to you. And like, what I really want to touch on now is like, what's your dream from here? Like, where do you go from here?
So I think personally, I just want to keep. I'm still very early into my real estate career.
Yeah.
And I love doing commercial real estate. So I definitely want to continue to grow in that element. I want to kind of secure myself as being one of the most like prominent commercial real estate agents here. Within reason in the market, I think other agents do know me, but I would like to have a stronger track record. 2 years is nothing like in a job really. I still have a whole lot more to go.
Yeah.
And then to be honest, it would be to start like my own kind of property portfolio in Dubai, get buy-in, and just kind of look into creating a more passive income is probably where we go from there.
We sort of ask this on every podcast to sort of finish up and stuff, but if you have one piece of advice for like aspiring entrepreneurs, what would you say?
Can I have a second to think?
I feel like even...
Okay, so actually, right, there's
Yeah.
2 things that I always actually live by. People in Fermanagh are going to be like, she's ridiculous.
She is off her rocker.
I read a lot of books, right? And one thing that I'm really, really strict on is be impeccable with your word. And I think that if you're going to be an entrepreneur and if you're relying on people to buy into you as a person or trust you, you have to be absolutely impeccable with your word. And even in the mornings when I don't want to get up in the mornings and go to the gym, like I even just say it then, I'm like, you said you were going to go to the gym last night.
Yeah.
Like, be impeccable with your word. And then the other thing I always fall back on when something's perhaps isn't going your way, and I've actually got a tattoo of it on my hand. It's from another book, and it just kind of means it's written. So, for example, if a deal falls through or whatever you're doing in your business doesn't work out and you have to go back to the drawing board, like, it's written, that was meant to happen. So don't look too deep into it. Just go on to the next stage, and something better is probably going to come along.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting concept because like I feel like you need that wee bit of something to keep you going whenever because times will get tough. Like that is the thing. Like,
and even I think that kind of feeds back into me saying like just be delusional, because if you'd have told me 3 years ago that I'd just be like, it's written, I'd have been like, no. Like if you ask my mother what I was like, I'm the kind of person who gets so anxious about things, like I'll hyperventilate, like I'll nearly be like retching. So if you ever told me that a couple of years down the line, I'd just be like, oh, look, it's written, whatever, it's fine, something better's going to come along. Yeah. I'd have been like, no, you must have the wrong person.
What book do you read? What books do you,
I read, like, I love reading, honestly. I always have some kind of Audible. So I try to do a book a week, which can be tough depending on the size of the book. Yeah. And then I'll always have some sort of Audible. The 2 books that I was on about there is, one is called The 4 Agreements, and then the other is called The Alchemist. The Alchemist is the one the tattoo's from. It's like my favourite book ever.
Yeah. No, I love it. I feel like you have to read something.
Honestly, that's another thing I would say, like, just get into is I massively would say spend your time reading, because all the snippets of knowledge you get that you can learn and like use in life, I feel like I learned so much from books. Yeah. And that's another thing that I've really got into since moving to Dubai. I think what people don't realize is there's a massive like push on health and wellness here, which I think is some
back home.
Yeah.
Have you ever read like The Power of Awareness? Neville Goddard and stuff. That's a good one. I think
I'll put it on the list.
Yeah, it's good. And there's a couple more can't think of, but I'll say later.
Honestly, I've said as well, I've got a few that I haven't touched yet, and I'm like, I'm not buying any more books until I've got through those. But it's like an addiction. Like I can't, there's a shop called Borders here, which is a bit like Easton's or whatever. I honestly can't walk past it
and not buy something.
Yeah.
Just finishing up, where can people find you on the socials? Say they're watching this and want to get involved with maybe like with you and what you do.
Yeah, of course. So I did have a work Instagram, but I'm not using that anymore. I've kind of decided I want to amalgamate my personal life and my professional life. So just Lee McHugh is the Instagram.
Yeah. Are you on anything else, or is it just?
So I've obviously got LinkedIn as well, which is just Leona McHugh.
Okay. 100%. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. 6 months in the making, really. There,
yeah,
wasn't it?
I
Like,
know.
or 5 months in the making.
I feel like I stuttered loads, but you know when you're just like chatting and chatting and chatting.
Yeah,
you're like,
it just comes out nearly effortlessly, like. But honestly, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else you want to say when you're here, or?
No, I think that's it. I've honestly had the best time.
So have I. We're a good time as well. But honestly, thank you so much for coming on.
No problem.
That has been all from the official Young Hunger podcast. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.